All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. Due to popular demand, we've actually left Matt out today. I know a lot of the people in the comments have requested that we leave him out because of his ugly head, and I totally understand. So we've got a new guest today, Luke Badman. Welcome to the show. He actually runs his own podcast. Any PQ for Dogs, I believe it's called?
Yeah. Life with your dog. No, yeah. So, I do a bit of dog training on the side as well. So
yeah, cool, awesome. Well, cue the intro. We'll be back in a second.
If you listen to this podcast, you will make your first $1 million within 3 years. I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of the first episode you listen to. We don't want pikers. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make podcasts. You really want this. You listen and review.
Put that coffee down.
Yeah, so welcome back. Today we're going to be interviewing, obviously, Luke. He's come to us from being a dog trainer where the hardest part of sale is getting an animal that doesn't speak English to listen and using the right language and I guess you could say asking them the right questions, such as sit, fetch.
More of a command than a question, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap with the psychology. Like the foundations of dog training are things like operant and classical conditioning. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but like, Pavlov and all this kind of stuff. So there is like definitely...
You're making my mouth water.
There's definitely a bit of a crossover and...
Luke he's just the reason we decided to bring him on today is he's recently come onto the team, probably 6 months.
6 months, yeah. This will be my 7th month.
7th month,
yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, 0 prior sales experience.
Yeah,
right?
Other than the business and other than my own business, like, which isn't really, I wouldn't really argue that that's really selling. It's more like what Matt would call order taking. Yeah. By the time they get to me, they're good to go. There is definitely it's an emotional sale, so there's a little bit of that, but it's nothing like what we do here at Sniper, obviously.
Yeah, because I remember reviewing some of your calls when you first come in and trying to aid how we could get you some more clients. And I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah. Before I learned the ways of NEPQ and...
Yeah. And so 6 months, you started doing a bit of setting for us, and Luke is the prime example of someone that comes into our development systems, takes the right steps, follows it up with a lot of action and ambition, and in a short period of time is very, very successful. If you don't mind me asking, where were you income-wise before coming to us? And then what are you averaging now?
I mean, I was probably doing the dog business was probably doing... Yeah, would have been on track to do, I guess, between 50 and 80 grand for the year.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing more than 5 figures a month between here and there in 6 months. And I've only been on sales calls for this will be my third or fourth month on sales calls. And let's call it the third month of doing full-blown sales calls.
And you do it part-time?
I do, yeah. I only work 30 hours a week. So
it's crazy. You've developed very, very quickly into someone that is I don't think your level of income reflects how quickly you've developed and how good you've got. So let's take a step back. What was things like, moving from that coming in and being a DM setter, and how did that make you feel from someone being relatively successul, taking that step back in order to move forward? What was that like for you?
I might go back even a little bit further to how I found Sniper. Matt's best mate from the army, Pat, is pretty much the best dog trainer in the country as far as I'm concerned. Most of what I learned about dogs, I learned from Pat through his course. And Matt went on their podcast last year. Yeah. And that's how I found you guys. And I was just I pay attention, right? And I was like, what is this? And I just went down this rabbit hole. And anyway, and then I joined as a DM setter. And it was hard at first, but I just threw myself, I wanted to throw myself into it. Yeah. I was like, what's the worst that could happen, right? I was willing to take a hit on income because I'm here for, I think I've heard Matt say this before, here for the vision rather than just the money. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can see where this place is going.
And What specifically about that vision sort of attracted you to want to take a step back, knowing that there's probably a bigger payoff in the future?
I could definitely sense the culture that you guys have here, even without having joined. Like, you know what I mean? Looking from the outside before I joined, I was like, there's definitely something there, and I wanted to be part of that. And then it only confirmed my suspicions when I got here. I was like, yeah, this is an awesome place to work. And obviously we have a lot of fun. Like, we start
podcasts.
Yeah, we do podcasts like on a Friday afternoon. We sell, we talk with the boys, and
it's good fun.
Yeah.
Play pool occasionally.
Yeah, exactly. This place is like a giant man cave, really. It is.
You can check out the office tours.
Yeah.
We've probably done. I imagine we have.
Yeah.
So, well, mini-series coming soon, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so there we go. You jumped into the DMs. Like, what was the hardest thing about coming in and then adjusting from someone who's never learned sales to being thrown into a world where it's like, here's a script, here's how we do it. Like, how did you get yourself in a position to, one, be able to actually learn that so quickly and then apply it to increase your income?
I had to be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but like...
It is.
And it is cliched. But like, you guys paired me up with Dan, right? And if you watch this YouTube channel, you've probably seen Dan floating around on a few of the videos. He's trained me very, very well. Like...
Did he teach you how to burn out properly?
No, he's if anything, he gave me a lot of tough love at the start and like really slapped me around a bit. We got basically hung up on the very early stages of the script. Like we were role playing, and I'm definitely like a bit of a perfectionist, and I had to get past that.
Yeah.
And he's like, how are we ever, he NPQ'd me. He's like, how are we ever going to get past this if you can't do problem awareness? And I was like, yeah, you're right. And one day I just woke up and I was like, no, like we've got to do this. Like, got to look past the DMs. Dan told me don't major in minor things, right? And so even though my job at the time was to DM, if you only focus on that, you can't, by definition, you can't go to the next level, right? Right. And so we started role playing a lot, even though my job at that point was not to be on the phones or on calls. I had to take that development into my own hand, right? And then the same thing to go from like triages to sales calls, like just kind of had to throw myself into it.
Yeah, okay. At what point, like, did you actually transition into triage calls? Like,
Good question.
Like maybe a month?
Well, Marco basically just threw me into it. He's like, come on, I want you to start doing triage calls. And there was another thing, like just be like, my initial reaction was like a little bit, I'm on the spot here. But like, it's like anything. You do a few, you stuff up a few, and then after a while, you just, you know what I mean?
I if I remember right, I don't think that was planned. We just had someone pull out of the role we put them in. So we're like,
right time.
Let's just put Badman and roll the dice, and took it with both hands, right? Another cliche. Just took the opportunity with both hands. Full credit to the boys.
Yeah. Full credit to the boys. No, there was definitely, and like I would count myself very lucky, even within Sniper globally, to be here in Sydney. Like I feel very lucky that I just happened to have, I mean, I grew up here, but like the fact that the Sniper HQ is here, I'm sure that's helped my development, having access to you, Matt, Marco, Dan, like on tap, basically. That's been very good.
For like the younger guys, and this is like, I could have an opinion on this, but it would be irrelevant because the perception's so off. Do you feel like it's smarter for some of the guys to move to be in that environment initially to start learning? Or at what point do you think like some sort of move would pay dividends in development?
You mean physically moving? Like
to be here in an office?
I definitely think so. Because personally, like, and we're at this point now where we've come through lockdown and I've got this sort of good hybrid model. I'll come in 2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person who, I know for myself, I couldn't work remotely 100%. It just wouldn't work for me.
Yeah, you get lazy.
Yeah, I just like being amongst people. Okay. So I definitely think if you have the opportunity to be around, like we're humans, we're social creatures, right? Yeah, we went through a pandemic and Zoom's great and all that stuff. Like you guys have built a business on it, but we do function better, I think, around people. And like I know, Sniper's building a sales office in the States and that kind of thing. So anyone who has the opportunity to actually go and do that, I'm sure they would grow faster. Yeah, because
the reason I ask is we've had a lot of guys, whether they're in Canada, the UK, that are wanting to move over there. And I'm hesitant in letting them. One, because it's such a big commitment. particularly as the younger guys, that environment is really, really high pressure in a lot of cases. So I think it has massive benefits, but I wouldn't even consider letting certain people go until they've developed to a level where that I know sense. That you can sustain your income and you're not going to take a step backwards whilst you've got all these additional expenses, whilst we obviously chip in.
Yeah.
Like you got rent, you've got commitments, and
absolutely
know, that
plus moving costs. It's a new city, you might not know anyone. Like
you might freak out and you want to go back to mama. You know?
If there's one thing I've learned from following your guys' story and Matt's story and all that kind of stuff, having definitely, listened to what you just said then, I do think like this like burn the boats, burn the bridges kind of mentality. Yeah. If you give yourself a back door, you'll find it and you'll use it rather than just giving yourself only one way out, which is to succeed.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm of the opinion it's probably 80% of the guys that works for. The other 20, maybe not. Mm-hmm. And whether it's not gambling on their livelihood, where you can see some people are so eager, but they haven't yet done enough to prove that they can sustain that. And it's like, maybe we take it a bit slower with you, with your development. And that way we can individualize things for different people depending on skill set.
There's definitely different factors too, right? So we've got such a age range here at Sniper as well. I'm definitely one of the oldest guys here. Oh, yeah. I'm 35.
You're a lot older than what I expected.
I'm 35, right? And I was just about to say as well, like it sort of depends what's on the line. Like there's guys who already have kids, who are already married, they've got mortgages. Like I don't have kids. I'm getting married next year, but like, so I was pretty much like, I want to have kids probably within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much now or never, even with the dog business, like that's only sort of a year and a bit old, right? And so like, it's very hard to make those kinds of, go for a few months without making much money when you've got big mortgages, kids to feed, all that kind of stuff. So this was kind of like the last portion of my life where I could really make a big change.
You've got to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So all in, all out.
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Right, and then that's cool. And we moved into sales.
Mm-hmm.
There was obviously a lot of changes that happened to, one, get you comfortable, ready to do that. What are like the biggest things that you felt allowed you to come on and immediately be successful with it?
I think definitely the burn the boats thing again, like you just got to make it work. Don't overthink it. There's a few probably, let's say, younger guys and girls in the company who are like still very young, 18, 19, whatever, and maybe they feel not as confident in themselves. Yeah. And a couple of them have asked me like, what's development related questions? And I'm like, just don't overthink it too much. You've just got to trust the process. Throw yourself into it. We have no shortage of access to training resources. Like I go to Matt's coaching call every week, like the inner circle one. Yeah. I go to all kinds of coaching calls that are other people, like if they're our clients, they would pay for that.
Yeah.
I set that aside to go and do that stuff. Okay. Then obviously got to do the sales calls to make money, but training and development is definitely a big part of it.
How do you I have a pretty set structure on how I like guys to develop. And I've been working on this with Spence, who's going to roll it out to a lot of our team in far greater capacity than I can. He's going to take it from my brain and apply it. I like to have our guys find like the biggest thing that they need to work on.
Yep.
Whether that's objection handling, it's tonality, it's structure, right?
Like a bottleneck in their development.
Exactly like a bottleneck. The lowest hanging fruit, that if you solve that one problem, it would give you the biggest return, ROI.
Yep. Right? Makes sense, right? So it's like what lever's going to move the needle the most.
Yeah, exactly, right? And what I do is, because it sounds like you do a lot of everything, but I get them to focus 70% of that time on fixing that one problem, and then the remaining 30% of that time, when I say time, I mean development time, right? If you got 5 hours a week, you're doing 4 on that one problem, an hour on everything else. And the reason I get them to study that 30% of time is because you make massive improvements in that one thing that you're dedicated.
It's like the 80-20 rule, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you're doing a whole bunch of other stuff, like let's say it's tonality, you do 4 hours of tonality work a week. You get significantly better at tonality when you're focusing and you have that much intention on it. But then if you do 30%, you do a little bit of objection handling, a little bit of structure, a little bit of articulation, whatever. Because you've had such an improvement on that tonality, you feel like you've got that same improvement on those little things that don't make as much of a difference.
Gives you confidence.
Exactly right. So for you, is that kind of like a philosophy that you go by, or like how does that work for you?
Yeah, I try and be pretty well-rounded. Like I try and do not too much development, and I think some of the more junior guys may get too caught up in that.
Yeah.
Whereas if they, I found it better for myself anyway to just focus on the next level but like actually not just sit there and passively, watch a portal or whatever it is, watch a video, but actually actually practice it, right? Treat it like an actual sales call, right? Rather than like, your job is the DMing, but then go and practice that next level like it is a real call. If that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah. I agree with that. Unless you're not that good at DMs yet, then if you're ever going to transition.
Your mileage may vary, right?
Precisely, right?
Yeah.
No, 100%. We're pretty much on the same boat. Okay, so coming in, learning that skill set in sales and doing it rapidly, how does that transition into everyday life, like with the dog business, like communication with your
my
soon-to-be wife?
NEPQ honestly just teaches you how to talk to people, and like it teaches you how important language is. Mm-hmm. Very specific words, like the 1% changes in a sentence or the way you say something is very important. Again, it's that like 80-20. It's like 20% of the changes you make to your words make 80% of the changes to the outcome of what you're trying to get, right? Like if you learned NEPQ, the worst thing that could happen is that you get better at sales. Do you know what I mean? The least outcome you got out of it would be that you get better at sales. Whereas I found that it applies, it just kind of seeps into the rest of your life. Does that make sense?
Has it been easier for you to sign up dog training clients?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's the close rate?
My close rate is
on the dog
on the dogs, it'd be over 90%.
What's it in general?
On here?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm on the actual NEPQ account. I'm closing at like 60% at the moment, I think. I actually just checked it the other day.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
In 6 months.
58 to 60%, something like that.
58, that's weak.
Weak
You got to keep it above 60.
Yeah. But obviously
we need to have a serious performance review.
That's why you sat me down here.
Anyway, so would you guys like to see that in a podcast? Me roasting Luke for an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. Anything else that you want to chat about today? Or?
I just want to thank you guys for like the opportunity to actually be part of this, because like I said, I came here for the vision, I think, and I can see like between you and Matt, I meant to say.
I mean, really the most two important people.
James and James. Yeah. Between you, Matt, and Marco, and all the other, the management, like there's definitely like this ship has a captain and has captains. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going somewhere. So like that for me, that's exciting. I like to be part of something that's like a bit visionary.
Well, where can the viewers find your podcast on dogs? So if you got a troubled dog, maybe one you throw a stick, it doesn't come back. Maybe one that's a little and chews up anything in the house.
We helped you with your dogs, right?
Oh, you did. If that's you, and I know a lot of salespeople, they love their animals. Most of them don't like people, even though they speak to people on a daily basis. Yeah. Love animals. If you want to learn about how to make your dog better and have a more enjoyable life, where can they find it?
Life with Your Dog podcast. So we're on all the platforms. You'll be able to find us. Just Google Life with Your Dog.
Put a link in the
podcast.
description.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Luke. And please, it would be really appreciative if you can like, comment, subscribe, all that good things. There'll be links down here. There'll be links there. There'll be links everywhere with upsells, downsells, cross-sells, whatever you want, guys. Leave a comment. If there's any questions for Luke directly about anything that he spoke about in his development, please put it in the comments. I will make sure that he goes in there, checks them, and responds.
I will.
And if he doesn't, let me know, and we will film that performance review.
Film a follow-up episode in here.
Because that's not what we do here, and it's not good enough.
We are strong on follow-up here.
Yeah, follow-up every day. Okay, thanks, guys, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.